Kingi is here. Kingi Santiel.
Welcome,
Yay.
Kingi.
Hey guys, I told you I was gonna bring the energy today.
Great. That's awesome.
How is everyone?
Fine. What about you, Kingi?
Man, you know what? I'm doing terrific. Life is great. I can't complain. I'm healthy, good people around. I got an opportunity to share this experience with all of you and make new friends, and I'm excited. So
yes.
We're excited too.
Absolutely.
I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited.
You got this. Whatever.
Thank you. I appreciate the love. All right. So I guess we'll get started.
Yes, let me just gently remind about some little tips about yourself. Not little. So Kingi Santiel has been in the fitness and wellness field for 25 years. I don't know why not 100 girls is not here yet, because I got very nice promotion for you yesterday, you know. So he also has 9 years of military service in 3 different branches: the Army, Navy, and Air Force. The transformation expert and serial entrepreneur, his passion has always been for love and relationships, and he's transforming lives not just in fitness, but in finding true love as well. Can you imagine? Kingi is really help people to find the true love from the very from the childhood. You said you were in school, right?
Yes. So a little bit how my passion came with love was when I was a kid. We used to play this board game, because we didn't really have video games back then. So we had this board game called Life. I don't know if some of you guys remember that. And one of my favorite takes of the board game was the first part, when you drive the little car and you get the little pink little person inside the car, and you get married, and then you drive a little bit further, and then you get the little babies and the family and everything. So that's kind of how my journey and my passion I know it sounds like a funny story, but that's kind of how my passion with love kind of started. And then, of course, growing up with R&B music, and I really had an old soul, so I listened to a lot of jazz and a lot of love songs. So even in elementary, I was writing little girls like love letters. So my passion has always been there. So some people even refer me to as the Cupid back in the day.
Wow. We're going to talk about respect today, by the way. Why do respect is important in a relationship, talking about the relationship?
So respect is important because it's the foundation to any type of relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a intimate relationship, whether it's even a coworker at work. Respect is a foundation to all of that, because with respect, it builds trust, and also, a safe place for someone to come to if they have that level of respect. Because if I respect you as a person, I'm more vulnerable to open up my true feelings. Instead of not having that respect, then I'm going to be a little bit more guarded and closed off.
And let's talk about the respect in mixed couples.
All right. Now, in terms of when you're dealing with interracial couples, there is a lot of challenges because we have different cultural backgrounds. Some of us were raised differently, and then when you come into, let's say, for example, even a blended family, there could be misunderstandings on both sides, because one person may be raised a certain way than the other side. So we have to learn to respect each other and understand where each other's coming from instead of just saying, no, it should be my way and or it should be that person's way. And personally, myself, I had to learn from my own mistakes as well, coming into that type of relationship where I grew up a certain way where my parents were pretty strict and told me, okay, don't do this. And they said it one time, and if I did it again, I dealt with the consequences. Where in today's time, kids are raised totally different than the way we were raised. So we have to look at things different and not just totally react to the way we feel at that moment, because it's easy for us to always put um, that emotional feelings in where we feel like it's got to be my way, and we don't really look at the whole picture until later, and we realize, like, you know what, maybe I could have probably said something a little bit different than the way that I said it, instead of the way that I just came, maybe drill sergeant. So maybe I could have taken a different approach. So those are some of the things that we have to learn when it comes to that type of relationship. And again, it goes back to not only just dealing with intimate relationships, it also deals with people that we work with. There's different cultures and different types of people that may come from different ways of life. Some people may come from a foundation where they're not used to shaking people's hands, and we can't take that personal. That's their belief, that's their background. So we can't look at it as a negative thing. We have to look at it as and be open to, hey, this is where they're coming from.
I just wanted to say, yeah, that this is the issue not only for mixed couples, is the issue, I think, for all people. We're at some points of our life, we're a little bit stubborn, and we want things works just only our way. So that's the total and complete just imagination and acceptance of respect in couples. The primary thing to build the healthy relationships, because if we're just I saw that many times, to be honest, when you have just the family and very valuable, very like strong family values, and like the person insists on following these values and do not want to accept completely and entirely the values of another family, and it's like it seems like it's not the values, but it's like kind of like enemies just on the other side, and not the person who you love, but the rational mind goes to, I don't know, to another world at that times. So that's really an issue, and that's wow important.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, and the biggest thing with this respect too is all of us, and I'm going to say all of us. Some of us want to deny it, but it's all of us. We all have triggers. We all have hurt. We all have pain, and whether we want to deny it or not, it's there. So certain things might be said that may trigger us to react a certain way, but we have to learn to deal with those things, and I'll get into that more as we progress with the questions.
Yeah. What about the respect each other's time?
Oh yeah, so that's a big thing. So respecting each other's time doesn't take you away from the time that you guys spend with each other. It's more of respecting. If a person says, hey, I want to go out with my buddies to play basketball for a couple hours, it shouldn't be an issue of, hey, why are you doing that? Respect that person's time. If you say, hey, you know what, I want to go have a spa day with my girlfriend, or I just need some time alone because I need to clear my head, don't take it as a negative. Just respect that person's time, because what happens is a lot of us in relationships, we don't respect that person's time, and then we put this little guard on them, and then there becomes a lot of animosity and then friction, and then that's what creates arguments and negative thoughts that we put in our head. Oh, well, he or she must want to go do this because they're not interested in me, or they're interested in somebody else, and those stars are not even there. We shouldn't even put that in our head. It's all about, again, letting that person, just because that person wants to go for a couple hours and do an activity that they enjoy, that maybe you may not enjoy, just respect that person's time. Because in the long run, when they're happy about it, they're going to come back and be excited to spend the rest of the time with you.
Is that come like, I think sometimes that comes, but I want to ask you, like, out of being insecure, because, for example, if we spend time separately, so there is the fear that the person would cheat on us. I mean, in a different ways, just, or the person doesn't want to to spend the time with us, like how that could be, like, is there like way to resolve those things and to avoid those kind of mistakes and misunderstanding?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing to that, and I should have started off with this first, is we have to love ourselves. And when we love ourselves, then we're confident enough to be in a relationship with someone else. And that's the first thing, because when you love yourself, you have that self-esteem, where you have that power. It's like, hey, you know what? I love myself. So if that person is going to do wrong to me, that's okay. I still love myself, because love is out there for somebody, for me. And that's what you have to remember. So it's okay if that person wants to go spend a couple hours, because I look forward to them coming back to me, and then we can enjoy our time together.
Great. Thank you. I want just to ask if everyone hearing Kingi well, because it's kind of a little bit of interruptions that, like, I don't hear you clearly, or it's okay for everyone else.
Is it my mic?
Might be your mic.
Yeah, I think the mic. From my side, I can hear not clear.
Okay, let's try something. Hold on. What about now?
Oh, it's cool.
Better?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear it.
All right, perfect. Yeah, these mics can be a little finicky at times. All right, so where were we? Yeah, getting back to
Secure. Us being secure. Yes.
Yeah.
Secure.
So
I mean, and again, it goes back to, insecurity comes back from pain and triggers and things like that. And again, that's just something that we have to internally work on ourselves. No one can do that for us. So someone can love you and love you to death and tell you, hey, I love you and you're beautiful every day. Until you actually believe it yourself, then it's not going to work. And it's the same thing when I teach fitness. I can set programs for you, but I can't do the work for you. I can do nutrition plans for you. I can take you through workouts, but at the end of the day, you have to have the will and the drive and willing to put in work. It's just like making money. It's the same thing. It's about taking action.
Cool. Okay. What about, we're going to more sensitive topic, the respect and sex intimacy.
Right. Yes. So respect and intimacy is very important. With that, there's going to be times where your partner is not in a particular mood. And again, it goes back to the limited beliefs that we started putting in our head. Oh, well, they're not interested. Maybe they're thinking about somebody else. It's not the case. Get that out your head. Start to understand where they're coming from. They worked all day. They're tired. They picked up kids and they're tired. So we have to look at, we can't look at it as a negative, because there's going to be times where you may not be in that particular mindset. Maybe you got a call from a buddy that you lost, he took his life or something like that, and you're not in that particular mood, or you lost your job or your promotion, whatever it is. So we can't look at it as a negative. We have to embrace it and just understand their feelings and look into their feelings, where they're coming from at that moment.
That's the big question, I think, with everything. If you do not talk with me, you don't love me anymore. If you want to spend the time with your friends, you don't love me anymore. That's with everything. Respect and communication.
Okay, can I just speak?
Yes.
Okay, so I think I'm following what you are teaching us, and it's helping a lot. I just also want to add more on. I think some of these challenges is because of the mindset that we have set, like the rules that we have set to ourselves, that we don't want to change, or we don't allow anybody to interfere with our rules, because the mindset is locked. We have been hearing a lot of things that have been happening in the past, that if you see, for example, your boyfriend is behaving like this, okay, so it's the mindset based on the information that is already there. Then that mindset it has to change for somebody to, I think, really understand what you're trying to say. Even if maybe you say I'm tired, but if they heard or they read somewhere on the social media that no, my boyfriend was saying this, but at the end of the day was, so people will take such things and start applying them to themselves. So even if you make anything else, they think it's an excuse. So I think the most important part is we also need to change how we think about our partners. That's important.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
When we change how we think about our partners, it means we are trusting them. When we trust our partners, our mindset also changes the way we look at them, because we start now looking at them the same way we are. That if I cannot do this, which means I don't think he can do this.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely. I mean, and touching, getting to basically what you just said, we can't treat our relationships like a doctor's appointment, and it is the mindset. We have to change our mindset in order for it to work.
And that's the work. That's the entire process. And that's, I would say that that's the titanic work, when you know that you have kind of like destructive thoughts and destructive programs that do not serve you, to acknowledge those. That's the one thing, that's the big deal. But at the same time, when people are saying, oh, so you're working on yourself, can you work on this on yourself? So can you try to work this on yourself and to feel how like what you should go through, and to acknowledge that when you're doing like, or when you have the particular feelings, and then you build that self-confidence and self-love, like step by step. That's like everyone who is working on themselves and just do not go with the flow is a titanic work, and there's like lots of respect for people who are doing that in every aspect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So respect and communication.
Thank you, Patrick, by the way. All right, so respect and communication. is huge. And what I mean by that is when it comes to different types of relationships, we're going to have disagreements. And again, this plays also into triggers. So things are going to be said at times that are not nice. And we want to be able to take in consideration not to try and say those particular things because it does create triggers. And so, for example, let's just say your wife tells you, take out the trash, and you just somehow forget to take out the trash. And then she tells you again until it gets to a point where, where you're just like, okay, honey, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then it doesn't get done. And then now she blows up. And then she says, see, you're always doing this every month or every week. I have to tell you like 4 or 5 times. And granted, she did tell you 2 or 3 times, but we have to learn to communicate with each other better. We can't just, we have maybe, again, there could be a different approach. Maybe she could have gone to him and said, hey, is there a reason why you couldn't take out the trash this week? Oh, you know what, honey? You're absolutely right. I'm sorry, honey. I got tied up at work, sidetracked. I totally forgot. I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. Instead of, you didn't take out the trash. And then now he puts his defense mechanism up. He's pissed off. You're always nagging me. And now, see, you're just nothing but a nag. Now he throws a negative thing out to her. And maybe that particular statement that he said to her was something that an ex-boyfriend said, maybe something that her father said, and it puts that in her head. Now she's closed up. Now she doesn't feel safe anymore. So now she distances herself. So now when you try and go back later and be loving, she's like, I don't know, because you hurt me. And same thing, vice versa. So we have to be careful with our words. I always use this metaphor where you take a board, it's a plain piece of wood board. You put 5 nails in that board. So you hammer 5 nails in that board. Okay. Now you pull the nails out of the board. What do you have left? A board with holes. So that board is not the same like it was before. So it's the same thing when you say hurtful words to a person, because you can patch up those holes in the board, but that board is never going to be original. It's never going to be the same flush piece of wood that originally was. So words are powerful. So we have to really pay attention to how we use words in relationships and just towards people in general.
I would love to record this metaphor for myself and to share that as a reminder for people, because that put really more of respect into relationship. Who would remember about those things from both sides? Yeah. And respecting each other for who we are.
All right, say that one more time.
Respect each other for who we are.
Yes. All right. So respect each other for who we are. You know, again, the only person that can change is you. I can't change you. I can help change you to a certain point, but ultimately you have to be the person that's willing to change yourself. So you could be the fitness person and tell me, okay, go do 1,000 burpees and do a bunch of crunches, and that's going to guarantee in 2 weeks that you're going to have a 6-pack. If I go do it, then even though you told me and gave me the knowledge, I took the action to actually do it to get it done. But if you tell me and I don't do it, then in 2 weeks, if I don't do it, I'm not going to have a 6-pack. So you can't come into a relationship thinking that you can change a person, because you have to, and that's the whole point of respect. You have to respect their their good things and you have to respect their flaws. And that's ultimately what true love is about, because when you genuinely love someone, no one's perfect. I don't care who you are. The only perfect is whoever you believe in, the man upstairs. So you have to accept their flaws and you have to accept their good. And that's what true respect is when it comes to loving each other.
How to overcome those things, because I think that to some extent we all expect, even if we don't acknowledge that, we all want change something in the partner.
Yeah, it's easy. It's so easy to do that too. We have to again change the mindset, like Patrick said, and then also we have to put ourselves and visualize and put ourselves in that person, our partner's shoes, and understand truly where they're coming from in order to really make a change. Because it's easy to tell somebody, okay, you know, I'm going to do this or I accept you, but you really don't, because something, again, it goes back to triggers. Something may trigger something. It could be an ex, it could be something that they watched on TV that they saw and just started to trigger them. And now they're looking at it as, oh, okay, he's going to do this, and or she's going to do this, and now flared up. So we have to kind of put ourselves in their shoes, and again, it goes back to loving yourself as well.
I have a question that someone put in my inbox, Kingi. They want to know, what if those flaws and those faults start to hurt the relationship and hurt you? I tried to answer her the best way possible, but she might need to see it from a male perspective as well, because I understand, what she's saying. When someone starts really revealing who they are in a relationship and you start seeing those flaws and those faults really come to life, and they're now weakening the bond that you once had with an individual, and you start seeing them in a totally different light. So are you able to just elaborate a little bit for her?
Yes.
Oh, and thank you, by the way. I see she's listening on Facebook.
Oh, great. Thank you. So we have to, okay, when we first get into any kind of relationship, the sparks are there. We're going through the whole honeymoon phase, and everything is great. And then intimacy is great. We're bunny rabbits, whatever. Everything is going well. And then it slowly starts to drift a little bit. And the reason it kind of drifts a little bit is because, number one, we get comfortable. And we can't get comfortable. You always have to look at it almost kind of like, I'm going on an audition. I have to do something to surprise her, to keep it sparked. And when it comes to disagreements, you have to look at, okay, what made me happy in this relationship? Because it's easy, as soon as you get in a disagreement, to look at, okay, this person said this that was hurtful, and you have to look at, why are they hurtful? Why did they say those things? Mm-hmm. And understand why they might have said those things, and not take it specifically as a negative. So, for example, I'll go ahead and use me as an example. So, in my past, I would get mad about maybe certain things, and then I may become defensive, and then I have to look back later. You know what? I was kind of a jerk, and then I had to go
just own it.
Right. And I had seriously. I said, hey, I was a jerk. I had to go back and realize, you know what? Why did I react this way? Because it was something internal with me that I was having issues with. Like I said, it could have been, you know, I had a bad day and I just took it on my partner, took all that negative energy and put it onto my partner. And then vice versa. When it happened to me, I had to go back and realize, wait a minute, is there some truth into what she's saying? And not just take it as, oh, she's been mean to me, or she's been just difficult. So I hope this kind of answers the question a little bit.
She said it did. I was just reading. She was like, "Thank you."
Thank you.
She said, "But this part." She actually said, her situation, they never really would acknowledge that it's them. They would always make her feel as if she was being mean or aggressive, or insensitive. So.
I mean, yeah, and this goes back to, I want everyone to think about this every time there's a disagreement with your partner. I want you to physically do this exercise. Go get you a piece of wood, because as silly as it may sound, it works. Go get you a piece of wood, go get you 5 nails, you get a hammer. I want you to look at that piece of wood. I want you to physically take your hand and rub the wood and see how smooth the wood is. Then I want you to take those 5 nails, hammer those 5 nails into the wood, look at them for a good 30 seconds. Then I want you to pull all of those nails out and look at it again for 30 seconds. Then I want you to take your hand slightly, so you don't get splinters, just slightly across the holes, and then realize, and that picture is always going to stay in your head. So next time you think about saying hurtful words to your partner, you're going to think about this piece of wood and nails, and then that would help with the process.
Good stuff. Thank you.
From the both sides, basically, because sometimes we're really too harsh about something simple in our life. About, like you said, can you just take those trash, and we make such a big tragedy out of simple things. The cup is not at the right place, and just because in past like we had some issues with that, or maybe as a child we have been taught that that's bad to do that, we insult people with the simple things, and making by ourselves our life with a partner more complicated. And mostly I would say that as much as I learn, and I do trust to to the hypnotherapists and people who are working with the subconscious, mostly if we are too harsh to something, we took it from somewhere. This is something which does not belong to us. Yeah. That was beautiful. Thank you, Kingi. Respect and forgiveness. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was going to also mention this too. I highly recommend, if you do have a partner that you feel that may be difficult, one thing that I've learned over the years is that if you write down your issues and write them down, and just do it like a love letter, write them down, give it to your partner. Because again, when we're in arguments, we're not thinking clearly, any of us, period. So if you write that stuff down.
Or when you're hurt, or when you're in a hurt state.
When you're in a hurt stage, you're not thinking. So if you write it down, give it to your partner later, they can actually read it and then see kind of where you're coming from. It helps. It helps. Believe it or not, it really helps.
And what if we sometimes don't want to hear each other, even if we give those kind of letters, but we don't hear, like one of the partners just doesn't work?
Well, again, it's timing. So obviously if that person's just not there, their mindset's not there, because it goes back again, their mindset has to be there. So if their mindset is not there, then that's probably not the time to do it. But at the end of the day, if you put that letter down when the time is right, they will read it, because number one, curiosity, they're gonna wonder, okay, what did this person write? Are they breaking up with me? Are they, the curiosity, the mind's gonna be there. So they're gonna read it. And then when they start to read it, they realize like, hey, you know what? Okay, now I kind of understand where my partner's coming from. So a lot of times, it's easy for us to go like barking dogs back and forth, and no one is really listening to each other. So that's one of the things that I feel that has helped me tremendously in the past, because a lot of times that I would get yelled at personally from my partner. It's like, you're not listening to me. And it's not that I'm not listening, it's just the fact that I'm trying to hear you, but we're arguing at the same time. So I'm really trying to tune it out because I don't really want to listen to it.
Kind of checked out, yeah.
I got checked out, exactly. So then what happens, if she writes it down, I'll go back and realize, oh, okay, all right, now I see what, what I did.
Right.
And self-reflect on myself, what I need to change.
The respect and the respect on forgiveness.
Oh, respect and forgiveness. Okay, that is huge. That is huge. So respect and forgiveness, you have to truly forgive. You can't just say the words. You have to truly forgive. And when you forgive something, you let go of it. Okay. It doesn't mean that, okay, yeah, I forgive you, and then the next argument I'll put back in for ammunition to use against you. You have to truly let it go. So I'll give you a prime example of my story, if you guys don't mind me sharing. All right. So I grew up with not the nicest dad, and very, very physical, very mental abusive. And for many years, that hurt. It hurt me. I had a lot of low self-esteem, where I had to question myself on certain things because of all the damage that he put in my head. So for a while, I would, it would hurt me, then I would be fine. Then certain things would trigger it, and then I'm back there. So it got to a point where I totally let go. I said, this is not going to hunt me anymore. And I called him up and I said, look, this is things that you did to me when I was younger that hurt me. And he couldn't deal with it. He denied it, basically hung up the phone. But you know what? At that moment, I was free. I was free because I felt that pain, that void, because I was able to not only stand up to my father, because growing up, I was afraid of my father for probably to the age of 24. And as a kid, every time he would come in the house, I would just shake. And so people don't realize what that does to you. So, and I would see how he treated my sister a lot better than he treated me. So there was a lot of, that animosity and things like that. So when I questioned him and he couldn't really be man enough to really answer me, I just felt like, you know what, I'm good. You pretty much answered me. So I let it go. So now I'm a happier person. I feel better. And I don't have to worry about, bringing it back in where for a long time, I put myself as a victim. Well, my dad didn't do this, and this is why I'm this way. And I feel totally free. So when you deal with someone, whether it's a past relationship that has been haunting you, all it does is going to bring toxicity into the new relationship. So you have to let that go. You have to be free, because again, there's going to be certain triggers, and it goes back to everything that we had just discussed. If you don't truly forgive, let's say that person cheated on you, and then all of a sudden, now your new relationship, that guy, he's going to the car wash for 5 hours or whatever. Now you're questioning it. You didn't truly forgive that person. So you have to go back and truly forgive that person before you can move forward. And that's
I have
why
a question, Kingi.
Mhm.
They said when forgiveness over, and she said, thank you for sharing and being transparent in that situation. She said, what about when forgiveness overlaps situations that are continuous? I've been known to stay in relationships where I have forgiven the individual, but the pain is just so unbearable, and I would have to leave. At the moment that I severed my ties is when forgiveness was actually my healing point.
That is a great question. I mean, again, that goes back down to, it gets to a point where, okay, you put in 100%, then that's all you can do, because you can't ultimately change that person. If you know deep down in your heart that you did 100% and I gave my all and I forgave that person, but then they did it again. Obviously, there's a pattern somewhere that they have. Either maybe they're not understanding what they're doing, and maybe you guys have to learn to communicate differently. That could be one aspect. Or maybe it's just a pattern of something in their past. Maybe their dad did it, maybe their mom did it, and this is why they're reacting differently to that situation. So I hope that answers your question.
She said, yes, thank you. Oh, I have a gentleman. He wants to know, when once I'm in a state of forgiveness and I do meet someone else, he said he is definitely guilty of bringing that baggage into past relationships. Should he go back and actually, talk to the person whom hurt him, or that he felt like he really didn't forgive in order for him to heal? Or is that something that he just needs to deal with within himself, or either talk to his partner about?
So my advice would be, I would, if possible, meaning that it's safe, it's not like, you're dealing with.
You're trying to get back.
Right. That, or, situation where it was a stalker or something like that.
Right.
Safe. Then I would go back to that person, and whether or not they want to listen to you, you explain how you feel. Because even if they don't listen to you and you went back and you explained everything, you will feel better. Trust me. And again, I don't mean to get personal again, but I've had a situation with a business partner, and she did some things that were horrible. And, I went back and I said, you know what? Hey, I forgive you. I forgive you. I said, whether or not you want to hear me or not, I forgive you. And I even embraced it. I went and gave her a hug, and it was good. And everything was good from that point. So again, if it's safe, I recommend go back and do it. In a situation where it may not be safe, then that's something that you have to come into terms with yourself, where you have to fully let it go.
He said, does he need to tell his new partner that he's reaching out to exes? Should he tell her? should he share with her that he's reaching out to exes to apologize?
I would, yes, because I believe that honesty up front is the best thing, and in that way, the new partner doesn't find out and feel like, hey, you went behind my back, and then that creates a whole nother situation. So absolutely, I feel that, hey, because if you truly have a true partner, they will be understanding that, hey, I'm going back to let this person know so I can get rid of this pain, so I don't bring it into our relationship, and they will be totally understanding. So like, if my woman came and said, hey, I want to go back and talk to my ex because he did this, because I need this, because I feel that the arguments that we've been having is because of this person. And the only way I can release it is to go back and forgive this person truly. I'm going to say, you know what, 100%. You want me to be by your side and give you support? Absolutely. I'm not going to say, well, oh, you just want to go back because you want to hook up. No.
Right.
Okay. You want to get rid of those negative mindsets.
Right. Good stuff. Thank you.
And from there, the respect and social gathering.
Ooh, say that one more time. Sorry, I didn't hear you on that one.
Hey, that's me who is not native speaker, so it's okay.
Hey, Karina.
Respect and social gathering.
Okay, so respect and social gatherings. So that could be, again, it could be a situation where you're out at a club with your significant other, and then you may be on the dance floor, and not everyone is going to be respectful in that type of environment. You have people that are intoxicated and they do things that they shouldn't do. So again, you always want to highlight your partner, especially in a situation like that, and let them know that, hey, you're the most important thing to me. And that way they feel comfortable. So that way, even if someone came over and did something inappropriate, it still makes you feel like, hey, my partner is solid. We have our relationship is totally solid.
Absolutely.
Because, for example, I know I keep going back on myself, but
no, be transparent. That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. Those are the best. Those are the best stories.
Thank you. So I was with a particular partner at the time where we went out to dinner, and I had just got back from reserve, from duty. So I was still in my uniform, and we had to get to dinner because we had an appointment. So I didn't really have time to change. So we went to dinner, and then afterwards upstairs is kind of like a little section where they have music. They had the jazz, because I like jazz and reggae. So we went upstairs, and then my partner had to go to the restroom, and I already knew what was going to happen. So I said, "You sure you want me to go with you?" She's like, "No, I'm fine." And I said it like 5 times. I'm like, "No, I can go with you. Are you sure? You sure?" And she's like, no, I'm fine. So she walks away. So when she walks away, one girl comes up, "Oh my God, thank you for your service," and comes up and just gives me a hug, and I'm kind of like, "Oh, don't do that." But she was totally respectful. She was cool. She just said, "Hey, my brother was in, thank you," and then she went about her business, and that was okay. Second girl comes up, totally just not respectful at all. I'm backing further and further and further to the wall, and she's getting closer and closer. And I'm like, "Look, my girlfriend's about to come back. This is not cool." And because I didn't want a situation, because I knew like as soon as she would have got back, it would have just been a bad situation. And I knew it was going to happen because I was in uniform. So my girlfriend comes back, and I'm all like, "Oh man, I'm about to hear it right now." So I'm putting that negative thought, "I'm about to hear it right now." But she comes back, and it was totally cool. And I told her I was upfront, honest. I said, "Look, I knew this was gonna happen when you left." I said, this girl came up. This one right here was respectful, and this other one right here, she was just kind of inappropriate. But I said things straight, and then I basically, embraced my girl and let her know, like, hey, everybody in the environment, like, this is who I'm with. This is who I'm involved with, who I love, and so it doesn't matter, if you try to come up to me or not. This is who I'm with because she's important to me, and that's what you have to do. So when you're in those type of gatherings, you have to make that person feel the utmost comfortable and let them know, like, hey, you are important to me. I don't care if Denzel Washington came in, whatever.
That's
like,
right.
like, hey, you're still important to me, or vice versa. Hey, Holly Berry came in. Yeah, Holly Berry's fine, but you know what? It's okay, baby. You're fine.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
And from there, respect for yourself.
Oh, say it one more time.
Respect for yourself.
Respect for yourself. All right. So respect for yourself is you have to know what you're willing to accept in any kind of relationship, and you have to know your boundaries when it comes to that, because if it gets to a point where it's just too toxic, too negative, then you're really not respecting yourself, because you're taking in all this negative energy, and all it's going to do is just damage you in the long end. So you have to learn how to love yourself first and respect yourself. And if you can love yourself first and respect yourself, then everything else is going to fall into play perfectly.
Yeah, basically all of the points that we've been going through, they would be covered from that perspective, I think, if you have enough respect for yourself. Yeah. And respect and boundaries.
All right, respect and boundaries. Boundaries, again, it goes to situations where, say, for example, you're in a relationship, and again, the past is the past. So doesn't mean that you can't, I don't even want to use that term. So the past is the past. So for example, let's say you're in a relationship, and then your ex calls and they had to tell you something. Maybe it was something that an old bill that you guys had to settle or whatever. Okay, that's fine, as long as it's an appropriate situation, and it's an appropriate conversation, and it's an appropriate time. That's okay, because I get it. There was, you guys were in a relationship. You may have to settle different types of businesses or situations, especially if it was a marriage or something like that. Here's the problem when it comes to boundaries. When you have certain things, like if an ex called late hours that was inappropriate, and then you didn't correct the situation, this is when it creates arguments. This is when it creates insecurities. You have to correct that situation. So, for example, if someone called me, at midnight, an ex, I'm gonna say, look, you can't. I have someone. You can't call me. It's disrespectful to me. It's disrespectful to her. You can't do that. So you have to correct that. You can't just go to your new partner and say, "Oh, it's okay. It was just that one time." No, because they're not going to feel important. You have to correct the situation, and you have to do it in front of them, letting them know that you corrected the situation. You can't just say later, "Okay, I'll go back tomorrow and I'll correct the situation," because in their head, they're gonna think like, did she really, or did he really correct the situation? That's why you correct it right then and there.
Thank you, Kingi. Anyone else have the questions? I think there was the session like full of the practical things and the life things, and very transparent, heart touching things that people can take, I can, oh, that's good. I can read just, even your microphone is muted. Okay. Anyone else want to ask Kenji? I think he can give you an excellent answer on something that you're interested in. I have actually like my own question about like if there is like a difference in between like how two different genders, like how man and woman can see what respect it is, not only like the personal things, but just like according to genders, if they but it's like is connected with the personal stuff, but if there is some things like that, so how and what should they do and how they should agree on that? A different understanding on respect, how people should find the common ways to resolve the issues that like something is different for them.
Okay. So again, I mean, it goes back to what I think that you should, if you can't really communicate well with your partner, then write it down. Because like for me, I'm a visual person. So some people learn differently. And again, if I'm having a disagreement, I may not understand, I may not see that situation that person is what they're coming from at that moment. But if they write it down, then I end up reading it like, oh, okay, I totally get it now. You know what? This is what I need to do to change. And then if you can communicate well, sit down and actually be vulnerable. Open up. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Don't, have this guard up, because a lot of us have this guard up because we don't want to be hurt. But at the end of the day, whether you have a guard up or not, you can still be hurt. So in order to make it really truly work, you have to open up. You have to allow yourself to open up and then take in what a person is saying, what your partner is saying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I have a few exercises that sorry I don't have like a PowerPoint to have all the information. I can probably get that to you later, but I'm just gonna read a few things. So the true love test for men. Does she value and share her inner thoughts, feelings, needs, and desires with you? In particular, is she able to bear her vulnerability, open heart when she's in pain? Number 2, does she honor your dreams and purpose as deeply important? Does she see greatness in you and consciously create sacred space for you to do your best work? Number 3, does she have the strength and the wherewith to withhold in your confusion, pain, or fear, and create a safe place for you to expand and feel loved and supported? So I'm just going to read 3 of those, and then I'm going to read the one right now for women. The true love test for women. Number 1, how often does he go out of his way for you, physically, emotionally, intellectually? Number 2, does he genuinely want to know your true feelings, thoughts, desires, and fears, and be impacted by them? If you get interrupted while speaking, does he bring you back to your point? Number 3, is it his priority that you feel safe, loved, and understood? All right. And I just want to do a quick little exercise too with everybody, just to kind of help with some of the negative thoughts. So I just want everyone at home, you guys can do this exercise as well. I just want you to sit back, just relax, just close your eyes, and in a few moments, you're going to be more relaxed than you ever known yourself to be. I'm going to mention certain parts of your body, and as I do, I want you to just feel that part beginning to relax, relax, relax. Just feel that part of your body beginning to relax, relax. In order to help you relax, I want you to imagine yourself in a wonderful place that you love the most. It could be the beach. It could be your favorite vacation. Whatever it is that you solely desire, I want you to imagine that place. I want you to take any negative thoughts that you've had in the past, and those thoughts are gone. Any pain that was done to you, any negativity, any wrongdoing, those things are thrown off the cliff. You're going to embrace now into a new beginning of love, of growth, of positivity. You're going to share that positivity with everyone, with people that you love. And moving forward into your new relationships, it's going to be love, humbleness, forgiveness, excitement, true love. Now, as you start to come back from relaxation, I'm going to count from 10 to 0, and you're going to slowly come back. And when you come back, you're going to feel like a whole new person when you come into your new relationship. 10, I am strong. 9, I want love. 8, I deserve love. 7, I will give love. 6, I will accept love. 5, I will learn to love. 4, I will forgive. 3, I will always remain positive. 2, I will love unconditionally. 1, I will love unconditionally again. 0, you are now coming back and embracing who you are. Thank you, guys. You may open your eyes.
Thank you, Kingi.
Wow.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Thank you.
That was good stuff.
Speechless. That was so wow. Thank you, Kenji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yay, that was Kingi Santiel from Arizona, speaking about the respect in relationships. And that wasn't only about respect, that was like about there was covered like so many different things with the help of this topic, but not only the respect, I think, but lots of the conscious things that people should remember and take care of about each other. Thank you so much.
You're awesome.
Looking forward to post it further on YouTube and to share that with people. I'm sure people are gonna love it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.